Welcome to the Service to Syndication podcast, where we interview the biggest and most successful real estate entrepreneurs, investors, capital raisers in the world who have worn the uniform of this great country, those who provide services to our men and women in uniform, and other service-oriented professionals to provide you with the tool sets, the mindsets, and the skill sets to help you conquer your dreams and goals in real estate and to use this wealth creation vehicle so you can live a more successful, happy, and fulfilled life of generosity and prosperity. If what you desire is time, lifestyle, and financial freedom, you've come to the right place. We will bring to you the best real estate entrepreneurs who will give you the insights, the knowledge, experience, skills, so you can go out and crush it in whatever real estate asset class you desire. So grab a pencil and paper, sit back, and enjoy the ride on the Service to Syndication podcast. Three, two, one. Hello, my servicemen and women and other service providers. Welcome to another episode of the Service to Syndication Real Estate Podcast. I am your host, Cedric Marlow. I am a U.S. Navy vet. Here on the Service to Syndication Real Estate Podcast, we host the most successful entrepreneurs, investors, capital raisers in the world, where most have donned the uniform of this great country. We aim to provide the tool sets, the mindsets, skill sets for you to achieve your personal and business goals while using real estate as a wealth creation vehicle to help you live a more successful, happy, and fun-filled life. I am super excited today because I have Mr. George Paredes, who is a top-notch real estate investor. But before I properly introduce our exciting guest to you, I want to ask a favor of you. Please, if you get some value out of today's interview, if you get some type of mindset shift, if you get some insight, if you learn a new skill, no information, receive inspiration or motivation to go out and take some action, to make some progress in your life, please share this episode with some of your friends. Send it to someone you know who might be or could be interested in real estate. Share it on your social media, post it on your wall, or share it in your stories. Help us spread our message while you help others. For all of you who shared this episode, I want to say thank you. And again, everybody, as I mentioned, I have Mr. George Paredes, and he is a real estate investor, full-time for 2 years, primarily wholesaling and building a team of cold callers and lead managers, looking to improve the systems he has in place by building his network and learning from others, primarily reaching out to pre-foreclosures, DTS niche list, and a little direct to agent as well. He was a mechanic in the U.S. Army for 8 years. All right, George, the first thing that I do with my guests is I ask them to walk us through the real estate journey in 75 seconds or less.
Okay. Let's see if I can do this, Cedric. And thank you for the introduction. 2 year, well, I guess 3 years ago, I had been at the post office for about 7 years as a letter carrier. Loved it. Fellow veterans all around me as well. But it felt like I was missing something. It was like a rut to where I would see nothing against my fellow service members in there, but there was like a lot of people just stayed there for the money to where, but they were like disgruntled to where I think I don't know if it's a calling from God, I don't want to go that deep into it, but felt like I had something missing. So I started reading certain books and got into this. I think it was a commercial. I don't know how I got or on TV about fortune builders, about wholesaling, and I bought into that system. And my wife like, "Go for it, babe." And so man, I took it all in, like we talked about before the show, Cedric, of consuming all of it in like 30 hours in a week. Okay, I'm ready. And the first thing I was discouraged when I called my coach that was in South Carolina and I'm in Houston, Texas. Like, hey, how do I run comps? It's like, where are you at? Like, I'm in Texas. Oh, that's a non-disclosure state. You need to get with somebody from Texas. Like, oh man, what am I paying this money for? And at the time, I was kind of like, oh man, this sucks. And so basically, kind of networking and learning to network with my local REI, my Real Estate Investing Association, RIA, should I say, and just getting a little bit from everybody. And how can I say this? Just failing forward to where I guess 6 months after that, Cedric, I was involved into an altercation, but unfortunately, it was another service member. But I think God put that person in my face to tell me, "Hey, this is not the place for you, George. You need to get out and go figure it out." And so, unfortunately, I left. I took a leap of faith and just stepped away from the post office, quit, and but for some reason that path led me closer to God, because one of the members from my network at the time was an usher at Lakewood Church here in Houston, and he would tell me as we would go see properties, like, "Hey George, you ever thought about going to church?" Like, I'll go one Sunday, and he wouldn't press it on me, but he was putting those seeds in my brain, and I started going, and I started realizing that it was so like a therapy for me, Cedric, to where it was getting rid of that limited mindset that I had at the time, like taking out that soil, taking it out and putting in that good stuff, that abundant mindset stuff that we all know about. And so after a year of kind of failing forward, and I told people, excuse my language, of taking my head out of my ass, figured out that I can only grow with other people. And so I started meeting other people, starting knowing a little bit about myself and believing in myself. And 2 years later, now I have I think around 14 or 15 wholesale deals. And now this year coming up, obviously, is learning to grow and being addicted to, or let me try to own my own properties. And I don't know if I got past my time, but I think pretty much that's my wholesale journey in a nutshell. A lot of failing forward, but also being humble enough to learn from those lessons.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that's it, man. I like that terminology you use, failing forward. A lot of people get stopped at the failure.
Yes,
One failure, if you will, or one thing that doesn't go right in their business, in their entrepreneurial journey, can cannibalize most people. But like you
true.
just said at the end, you learn from your experience. Okay. You learn from it, and it only makes you stronger.
Yes.
And I hope people really understand that. Not every day. I have a famous saying, and it's not my saying, but the
I hear
sun
you.
doesn't shine every day, but the
Yep.
sun is eventually gonna shine. So
True.
it's gonna happen. All right, man. So okay, you let's talk about the military. What prompted you to join the military?
At the time when I graduated, Cedric, I believe I was immature, which still at the ripe age of 43, I still feel I'm a little bit immature. Or should I say I like to still have fun, but I didn't have no vision of what I wanted to do. So I figured let me join the army. Let me get a little bit of discipline in me. Let me go see the world, and maybe I'll figure it out by the time either I do the 20 years or just get out early. And so whenever I joined, I enjoyed it. I meet different people of different ethnicities, and especially being in Germany and understanding the cultures of Germany and Korea, and just enjoyed it. The food, the obviously a lot of partying, after hours, but getting all that out of my system. And unfortunately, I left early. I think I did 8 years, and to where it felt like every chapter I go, I get tired or I want to learn something new, Cedric. But yeah, leaving and then using the GI Bill to get my associates in science, associates in arts, and I even tried to be. Oh no, aside from trying to be a nurse, I also attended the police academy thanks to the GI Bill, and I actually graduated top of my class. But I think that was another message from God saying, "No, son, those streets are too dangerous for you. You need to go on another path." But yeah, and like I said, that's but during in the army, I enjoyed it, Cedric. Like I said, learning that teamwork, but also knowing that I didn't want to be a leader at that time, and knowing that usually it was, hey, we need a volunteer. It was like, oh hell, nah, I don't want to do that, man. Volunteers get all the crappy work. But learning that in order to be a leader, you need to be willing to do the things that other people are not willing to do. And like you were saying in the beginning, use that be that example, be that light that shines upon those that are lost in the darkness. And for some reason, people gravitate towards that. And is at the end of the day, I guess God using you as an example, and you being His extension, and all that good stuff that we're learning.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So it sounds like it was more of a means to an end, the reason you joined the military, because like you said, you were immature, and you figured go in, see the world, and become more mature, get out
Hmm.
of those I don't want to say childish ways, but immature ways.
Right.
um right. And so you said that at the beginning you were like, okay, maybe do 20 years, or whatever, you were just going to figure it out. 8 years, that's a long time on active duty. I
Right.
did 8 years on active duty as well before I got out. But
Thank you.
so why 8 years and just say, hey, I'm done, let me move on to the next chapter in my life?
Um, I don't know if I felt like, say, this is just that sign of like, there's got to be something better to this, to where I believed, and I don't really like to talk about politics, but it seemed like you had to do certain things to get ahead in that career, and it didn't feel right in my body, to where
Mhm.
like putting somebody else under you in order to get on top of them, and like, now why can't we all grow together? To where, unfortunately, just got tired of it and just got out. But I think I because there's also, just like, I'm pretty sure you quote a lot of people. It's like you have friends for a reason, a season, and for a lifetime. And so that was just a temporary, I guess, shell that I had to be in, and now it's to take off that former shell, and get out and get something more.
Got it. Yeah, totally understand. Good stuff. So okay, you got out, and you said you got your, I'm assuming you got your associates and everything once you got out,
Yes,
and joined the post office. Great job, great career for most people.
yes.
So when did you first get into real estate?
Probably about 6 months before I quit the post office.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So I had done 7 years at the post office. Yeah.
Okay.
I grinded,
um
man. That was hard at first. It was, man. I don't think I could figure how these people get done with this route so fast. And I'm over here all slow, like coming home at night. A lot of times around 10 o'clock at night. And then the supervisor's like, "Man, what's taking you so long, George? Like, man, you keep putting me on a different route. I can't familiarize myself with these routes." But yeah, I enjoyed the same thing with the army, same
Mhm.
like teamwork kind of thing. But there was still politics, I believe, to where it chose me to leave. But I think, Cedric, in a segue, I think my problem was I strive great in systems, but I didn't like
Mhm.
certain systems, because it seems like every job I went to, they had good structure, but they always forgot about the little people, kind of like a fish tank, into where all the crap is at the bottom, and that's actually the people that get there's a live stream, I guess. And so it's
Yeah.
like, it was hard to figure out, and I think that's why it took me a year to find success, to where it's like, instead of trying to create, well, I had to create my own system, basically learn what I wanted in a business, and gather around people that had the same similarities as me.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier also that there was basically an infomercial at night that kind of
Hmm.
sparked your interest. Prior
Yes.
to seeing that infomercial, uh, were you interested in real estate at all? And if not, why'd you choose that as the vehicle?
Okay, good question, Cedric. Actually, before that, I was interested in stocks. I would like watch YouTube and YouTuber University. I made some bad investments, but I learned, like, wow, I can put this certain amount of money, and it can possibly project me into my future, to where but it seemed like it was real risky, and you had to put a lot of work into it. You can't just watch a YouTube video and learn. You have to, unfortunately, lose a lot to gain a lot, I guess, if that makes sense. But yeah, I started off with stocks, messing up a couple times, and just like, what's this real estate stuff? It seems more secure. And I think, even though I did read Rich Dad Poor Dad, there was another book that I read. It's called Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And I love that one, because it really hits the point where, like, who are you? I'm George. No, that's your name. Who are you? And like basically breaking down, like at the end of the day, you're just a soul in this vessel and you're just enjoying the journey. So why take things so personal? To where that kind of reaches to like, why am I holding myself back to becoming a letter carrier? I can be so much more. And then obviously adding the God aspect or the religion, like, wow, boom, why can't I do what I want to do and just be an entrepreneur? Why am I putting myself in that shell? And so I think that's, if that answers your question, Cedric,
Yeah.
was the reason.
Okay. Thanks for the book recommendation because I haven't heard that one. That's the first time anyone's ever mentioned that one to me. I
Right.
definitely will check that out.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like that one. It's a little story I like from that book. Cedric is like saying, like, say, you're in a relationship and say something happens and that woman was driving like a white Honda, and say y'all break up with her. Now 10 years later, you're with another woman. You're happy. You have kids and everything, and for some reason, you drive down the street, you see that white Honda, and you're like, "Arr!" And you start going back to that relationship, and it teaches you like why you holding on to this pain. Just let it go, and
Oh
be
wow.
happy. Stuff like that, and those are little tidbits that I got from that book. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, yeah. You know what? That is so so true. And just whatever happened in your life, if it was one thing that bad that happened, and like you're saying, you're just going through your everyday life, and then you may go past this place where that one bad thing happened or whatever it
Yes.
is. It's just like, oh, it just hits you. You're still
Yeah.
holding on to that whatever it was that brought you down. It got
Hmm.
you to that spot. So yeah, that I'm definitely going to check this book out because I'm not perfect by no stretch of the
Oh,
imagination. And sometimes, man, that stuff it just and sometimes it can
yeah.
cannibalize your whole day.
Yeah, like a cancer, it just spreads and just ruins your day compared to like saying something like, "Hey, hello, Cedric, you're a handsome man." And you're like, "Oh, thanks, George." And most likely you're gonna give that compliment to somebody else compared to like, "Cedric, you look like crap." You're like, "Oh, I want to give this to somebody else." "Hey, George, you look like crap." Like, "Hey, what I do, bro?" And so that's that energy that we have that power to transfer that, and it starts with us. You know.
Absolutely, hundred
Yeah.
percent, definitely. So, how did you get into your first wholesale deal?
Actually, my first wholesale deal was like a year of just struggling, trying to figure it out. Having a little bit of money from because obviously from doing the stocks and learning how to manage my money with a consecutive income coming in, that made sense. I was able to have enough money to pay for a VA, but I didn't know what the H I was doing. I was just failing forward and like having this person spending maybe 1,000, 2,000 a month going each month like, wow, nothing's coming back. What do I do? I feel bad if I have to fire this person because they have a family too. But I was putting myself ahead at that time, Cedric. So what happened a year? And people saw what I was doing because I was pretty good at promoting myself and saying, hey, I'm a real estate investor. And so this guy took a chance on me. Actually, this time last year in December, he had a small little system. He started me off as a cold caller, and so I would cold call for him. Man, I'll tell my wife, man, this sucks. I keep getting FUs and wrong numbers, and this is like, babe, have you got a deal? No, keep going. Like, okay. And so after like a month of doing that, Cedric, I finally got some traction. I started getting comfortable on the phone to where now became a lead manager and eventually became an acquisition manager to where I was closing. The first deal was a land deal, very simple. The guy, he was already selling some of his properties, and through the mentorship of this individual, he was able to help me out get the first deal. And after that, my confidence just started growing, and now I got more comfortable becoming that active listener. And also with the help of Sub Two, I joined that mentorship as well because the other mentorship, I was like, this one sucks. But it goes back to like the untethered soul, not having that situation or experience dwindle on what Sub Two could bring me or another mentorship. Because at the end of the day, it starts with us. And so, but to answer your question, that first deal was through basically humbling myself and just joining a team that's has somewhat of a success, taking the good and the bad, and leaving that situation and working on that and creating my own thing to where I have now.
Okay, okay, yeah. Rod Cleef, he speaks of the momentum of the first deal. That I think that's how he phrases it, momentum of the first deal. And you literally just explained it, after getting that first yes, you're like, okay, now this thing
Mm,
is real. And so, it motivated you to press on, press forward,
right.
and everything like that. And this goes out to any and everybody who hears this, man. You know, you're gonna get a whole lot of no's and
Yes.
a whole lot of phones hung up in your ear, and you're gonna get a lot of disappointments in real estate. And but you got to just trudge forward, man. You just got to keep moving. The muck doesn't stop. The muck doesn't
No.
stop. Yeah. So okay, for our listeners, let them know what markets you're currently investing in.
Sure, Cedric. Oh, right now, like I said, I'm primary wholesaling, but I think maybe, and I might be shortchanging myself. Maybe midsummer of 2024, I plan to start acquiring my own properties through, like we talked about off the video with Gator lending, learning how to use other people's money to actually start acquiring my own properties. But to answer your question, mainly in the Houston market, surrounding areas. I've closed a couple deals in Dallas and also in San Antonio. But with the power of sub two, I'm putting myself out there to where we talked about this collaboration over competition. It's being able to help maybe the younger investors, whether they're in sub two or not. Hey man, I'll close the deal anywhere. You need help, let's fail forward together. Whether I F up that call or I close that call, you're gonna get a step further, and maybe we can do a deal together to where half of one is better than half of 0.
I
Hmm.
totally believe in that. Yeah, yeah. I'm that. I don't know. My wife and I, we were watching television last night, and it was something that came on, and I told her, I put the television on pause. I'm like, hey, that's exactly what I believe in. I'm like, look, I'd rather have a little bit of something than a whole lot of nothing. You know?
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So okay. Now when you're s- whatever your process is, and we'll get into your process here shortly.
Hmm.
When you're seeking out these properties to wholesale, are there certain areas that you're looking to be in, like B class, C class, D class, A class areas, or it doesn't matter?
That's a good question. I barely started learning about those classes this couple of months ago, Cedric, about the description of those classes and how much they are, how they classified. So I'm not too keen on that. So to answer your question, anything is like kind of being that problem solver. If there's a problem, let me help you solve it, and then
There you
obviously
go.
having a team that I can relay those problems to where, hey guys, I have this multifamily. I never dealt with this, but because I'm in sub two, or maybe now that I know Cedric, I can trust him enough to where I don't need to put this under contract. I can relate to, hey Cedric, I have this multifamily. What do you think? Do you want a JV on it, or I can go to the side and continue doing my own thing? Just give me a finder's fee whenever you figure it out. But I would love to learn this if you have the time for me. So yeah, at
Gotcha.
the end of the day, it's whatever. I just try to be that problem solver and
Okay.
try to solidify myself as that closer, and then also that
Nice.
connector to where
There
it's
you
learning.
go.
Like I don't need to know everything. I just need to know the right people to help me get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. This real estate game. It's a team sport.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about building that network and having those people in your corner to get things done, get deals done.
for sure.
Um, yeah. So, all right, now let's kind of like roll into your process a little bit. Don't have
Mhm.
to, give all the secrets away.
Right.
So, how are you going about finding your deals?
Right now, Cedric, obviously through networking and utilizing my skills to other people that are listening through my
Mhm.
social media platforms and within the sub two community and my local community here in Houston, helping them JV and other than that, just using a software like PropStream to where if
Okay.
I lock up a deal, I'll try to find the same criteria, like if it's in a no HOA area, if it's in what they call quote unquote hood, or I'd probably label it a classy area, to where it's able to have add value to it. So right now, my partner, he's also in sub two. But what I love about our relationship, he's a real estate agent as well. So when I'm making these calls and I'm trying to figure out what problem there is, if it's a cash offer, because I have access to the MLS, I'm able to give that fair cash offer based off what the market says is worth, minus the ARV. I mean, minus the 70% of that, minus the rehab cost, and of course, minus my assignment fee, since I don't plan to keep it myself. And so, what he helps me out, he helps me find buyers to where we kind of have the going back to that whole teamwork thing, to where I'm more of the acquisition and he's more of the disposition. And as far as using the capital that comes from those deals and using PropStream to find more direct to seller niches, finding those properties, and of course doing a little bit of DTA whenever my system, which is basically based off of SMS outreach of
Oh yeah.
tech campaigns, and whenever nobody's responding, then I'm just on Zillow in my local area, just calling people, hey, how you doing? I'm looking for 2 to 3 rental properties this month, and this one is striking my interest, but I need to ask you a couple questions in regards to it. And like we we're saying, some agents are open to that. They'll have that conversation. Some are like, oh, this is illegal. Creative financing is not legal. Like, okay, well, no problem. Well, if you have a problem, if you have anything else in your pipeline, like foreclosures, distressed properties, I would love to work with you and make money with you down the line. And that's basically it, Cedric.
Okay. Okay. So sounds like with a lot of your relationships, you're nurturing them through, like you said, collaboration a lot, and just total outreach.
Yes, yes. Putting myself
Okay.
out there. Hey, I'm here. Come to me. I want to help. Let's fail together. And like I said, whether we f up the deal or I close it, you're learning from me and hopping on phone calls like this, Cedric, with the
Hmm.
individual, so they can learn. Like they hear me talk, like, "Wow, George, how'd you do that?" Like, I don't know. You gave me the confidence. You brought me the deal. I just asked the right questions, I guess. But also learning how it is a structure to it as well. It's just like a martial arts, to where you don't get from white belt to black belt overnight. You have to be disciplined. You have to come in with value and understand what problem am I solving that you can't solve yourself.
Yeah.
What am I
Yeah.
doing here?
Yeah.
And
Putting in the
learning that
reps.
it's you're disqualifying. And for some reason, Cedric, and I know you can relate to this, when you push yourself away, they want to come back. Like, huh? Man, I'm not your buyer because I'm gonna come in real low and I'm this. Like, bro, I want to work with you. Like, well, you gotta work with me with the number, bro. Come on, let's work together.
That's it. Hey, thank you for tuning in to the Service to Syndication podcast. If you are a military service man or woman, government employee, or any other service related professional, this is for you. I once was where you are. As a service member, I lived paycheck to paycheck. As a government employee, I knew there was more out there for me. I tried all the get rich quick schemes. None of them worked. Then a friend of mine introduced me to real estate investing. I am a commercial multifamily syndicator who helps those who have served in the military and those who provide services to our men and women in uniform and other service-oriented professionals achieve their time, lifestyle, and financial freedom by investing passively into multifamily real estate. If you know that this life has more in store for you, I invite you to tune into the Service to Syndication podcast to learn the tools, tricks, and concepts to help you achieve the time, lifestyle, and financial freedom that comes with investing in real estate. So go over to cobbscreekcapital.us. That is COBBSCREEKCAPITAL.US and schedule a call so that we can get to know one another and see how we can work together to help you achieve your goals. That's it. Yeah, let's work together and let's get this deal closed.
Right, transparency, and a lot of times I battle that with other people. Like, George, you're too real. Like, I thought this is what service was about. Is rendering service. I'm a problem solver, but before I can
Mhm.
solve the problem, I need to figure out the problem first by asking you these questions. They may be probing, but just like when you go to a doctor's office and they ask you when's the last time you had sex, they need to ask you these questions. They may be personal, but in order to give you the right medicine, whether it's whatever situation it is, they need to ask you those questions. And
Yeah,
I try to
absolutely.
be that house doctor.
I like it. I like it.
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's discuss maybe your most recent acquisition, or it doesn't have to be the most recent. It could
Mm-hmm.
be any. Um, uh, how'd you find it?
Mm-hmm.
Um, what the numbers look like? How long did it take to close? Was it difficult to close? And let's
Mm-hmm.
kind of go down that rabbit hole.
Perfect, man. We just closed one here recently. And how I got that deal, Cedric, was from my relationships from being in the army. And before I get into the deal, I have a phrase where I don't like to burn bridges. You
Right.
know, me and you may have a disagreement, but hey, I'm gonna hold it in. And like say, going back to letting it go, I still, you never know. Cedric may need me in a couple years from now. But this deal came from one of my friends that I was in the army with. Just here recently, unfortunately, her grandmother passed away in Dallas, and so she was talking to my partner, my buddy, say, George, he does those type of properties where like, yeah, I don't want to deal with it, I just want to get rid of it. And so basically, we got on the phone, and what was hard at first was hard about that, Cedric, is like, damn, am I lying? Because as an investor, I'm trying to come in as low as possible. But basically, I learned just be transparent. I buy in
Mhm.
4 ways. I buy cash, I buy creative, or we have a thing called innovation where I can probably give you a little bit more than cash, but we have to partner up. We got to fix the property, and at the end of the deal, when I sell it on the market, I'm going to give you the amount of money that we agreed upon, and I'm going to keep the rest because I have to pay back my contractors. I got to pay back my lenders, and at the end of the day, I got to get a little bit out of it too. Or since it's distressed, you can't sell it on the market. So obviously, the agent route is not there. But
Mhm.
talking through the process and even adding a little personal touch, I drove up there. I made that 4 hour drive, met my old army buddy, met the mom, saw the property, and I was like, oh yeah, this probably gonna need some work. And it was in the it's called Oak Cliff, and
Yeah.
it's a very heavy it's a very distressed area. But basically, I got the numbers down, and thankful to my partner, he was able to find a buyer that bought it at a pretty good price. So I think ARV was around 240, 230.
Wow.
I was able to lock it up at 70 and sell it at I believe 105,
Okay.
105,000. So that was a pretty good nice little check. But
Yeah.
throughout the process, what I learned, Cedric, that the property, even though the grandma passed away and willed out the house to the daughter, it wasn't properly probated. So 2 weeks in the deal, I'm over here with my heads like, dude, yeah, man, it's gonna be nice. Hey George, who's this person? Like, oh, that's the grandma. Well, the property never got properly probated, so I had to get on the ball and work with the seller, and she had to make a lot of moves to get the what they call an affidavit of heirship filled out, to where it's basically like the family tree. Everybody who's related to this lady has to sign off and knowing that this property is for sale, and they know about it. And so one of the hurdles was unfortunately the father that passed away in 1945, and Dallas only held records for people who died 1980 to present day. So we had to go all the way to Austin to get the records for the father. So that was a long process, but I learned so much about it to where that's why it's so important to ask these questions before even getting down to the numbers.
Yeah.
It's figuring
Yeah.
out is so and so died, is this properly probated? Why? And then boom, that's why you're asking the questions. You build that credibility with the person. Like, oh crap, this guy knows what he's talking about. And yeah, it's But to finish the story, it's a nice deal. Granted, it took longer than expected, but because of that relationship I had with the daughter, we were able to work together to get the deal done. And one of the last things, three siblings had to sign over it, Cedric, and actually one of the siblings was a 70-year-old Navy veteran. And we're on the phone like, hey, George, man, thanks for helping us out, man. Now we can get this out of our hair. And man, Cedric, he sounded with so much energy. I was playing around with him, like, bro, you sound like you can go back in and do another 20. Nah, George, I'm too old for that. Actually, I got to go to sleep. It's 5 o'clock. But yeah, those relationships are so beautiful, Cedric, and I think that's even though the money's great, but it's being able to be of service, and it goes back to what we were in the service for, whether it's Navy, Army, Marines. or Air Force. It's being of service and learning that because of that service you serve. Obviously the money is beautiful, but it's serving and having a good feeling about going to sleep that, yeah, I did this, but I was able to help this person solve a problem.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So in that case, that right there, I call a win, win, win. Three wins. Everybody won.
Right.
And that's what you want in these business transactions that we all do. You want everybody to walk away happy.
For sure.
It's not that I'm gonna beat this. Oh yeah, I beat this person down. Yeah, I got this house for freaking 50,000, and I know that it's worth 300,000. I'm gonna make a killing. You can't do that. You can't
Right.
continue to do business like that, because sooner or later it's gonna catch up to you. And
True.
you just want to leave a good feeling with the person with whom you just sold that house to, or bought the house from, or
Right.
so definitely. So now you said you have a partner. You do acquisition, he does disposition. How'd you guys meet?
We actually met through the sub two mentorship, and because what we do here in Houston, Cedric, with the local Houston group, we actually we'll do for 2 hours every Saturday. We'll invite certain people, whether you're in sub two or not, to come do calls with us where we talk to agents and sellers. And for
Mhm.
some people that are kind of new or hesitant, they'll come in and we'll have lists provided for them, and they'll have closers like myself and other more established people there to help out. As far as, George, man, how do you call foreclosures? Like, bro, you just call them like you're calling a family member. Like, hey, Uncle Cedric, how you doing, man? I heard you're in foreclosure, man. Is there anything I can help you with? What do you mean help? Like, have you called your bank? Have you thought about refinancing? So many steps. And sometimes people are not aware that they have so many steps that they're able to possibly save their house. And so it's giving those people that same confidence that I may not have had, to where, like, bro, I'll call them right now. Who do you got? And is in learning, teaching them how to call. And obviously it starts with confidence. And then providing that, and then in a way, there might be a deal for you in there to where, George, I'm scared to call this person, but I like you. I want to do business with you. Let's close this deal together. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's get this going. And let's say that momentum. But
Okay.
yeah, if I answered your question, I don't know if I got off the topic.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was just basically how'd you and your partner meet. So y'all met at
Okay.
the Houston
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah,
window.
I'm back. Yeah, we meet each other and, like, George, you're a pretty good closer. Like, I am. Like, and so that helped with my confidence to where he'll start, hey, let's work together. And so he'd give me the confidence, and then he'd say, hey, George, let's go, let's get some deals down. And so he would push me to make these calls, and that's how we partnered up. And obviously, like I said, we've done 4 deals together. But going
Mhm.
back to what we talked about earlier, we messed up about 3 of them. Well, what I love about our relationship, we're able to have that accountability. Like, hey, George, I effed up. We probably asked for too much. We're being greedy on this one, but let's learn from this and go on to the next one. And then me, I can do the same thing too. Like, oh man, I was kind of scared, or I was hesitant. I should have went for that. And but pushing forward, not saying, oh, it's your fault. I don't want to work with you no more. No, it's growing that relationship and getting better. And it's kind of the analogy with the military, being in the foxhole and being able to trust that person to where, hey, I may knock out, or while I'm changing on my mag, you got my back, right? And that analogy, Cedric.
Nice, nice. Yeah. I think that's pretty good. I mean, that program where you guys have where, on Saturday mornings, you guys are making these calls and educating,
Yes.
especially the people who are in pre-foreclosure, like, hey, you can actually save your house. You may
Exactly.
not get anything out of it.
Right.
You may not be able to get that house under contract or anything like that. But at the end of the day, the one thing that you will get out of it is that I helped this homeowner stay in their house. You
Right.
educated them. I
Yeah.
think that's admirable right there.
I think, and to add to that, Cedric, I had an experience where I think before the December the first Tuesday here in Houston, a homeowner was worried about losing his property. So I told him the day before, hey, let's hop on a phone call with the mortgage company. That way you can give me authorization to speak on your behalf. Let's find out how much you owe to stop the foreclosure. And so the next day comes and I'm calling him. He don't answer my phone. Like, oh man, this guy ghosted me. But what ended up happening is Cedric, he ended up taking the action. He called the mortgage company. And unfortunately, he did have the amount of money to pay off the arrears and stop the foreclosure. But we're still talking. And man, he even like I tell a lot of people who really know me, they'll call me Georgie. And so this guy, we're having a good conversation. Yeah, Georgie, I got it all under control, man. Thanks to you too. Is going back to what you just said. It's not always about the money. It's
Hmm.
being able to give that person some openness or open their eyes. Like, yeah, you can do this yourself, but I'm here to help you out. To where could I have gotten that deal? Yes, but now I learned from that to where now next time let's just lock this up. Let me help you out and do it. But either way, it's a win.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely is. So outside of the Dallas surprise that you guys had with having to get the probated, that it wasn't properly probated, have you
Right.
guys run into any other surprises that you know you guys weren't expecting?
Well, I haven't, like I said, I haven't dealt in the whole flipping part, but I heard horror stories, Cedric, to where a flip never goes like it should. But as far as this latest deal, it was through networking. I met a guy in one of these networking events. He like, hey George, I think I have an opportunity. So I walked it, I saw it, and spoke with the seller, got it at a good price. But come to find out, when I was submitting the contract, I noticed that the name didn't match the person I was talking to. I was like, what's going on here? And so the person in the middle didn't know either. So I told, hey, bro, I need to get you out the way because I need to talk to the seller and figure this out. So fortunately, and that goes with a lot in this business, Cedric, with trust. It's like, damn, I barely met this person, George. Do I really trust him? And get out the way and let him handle his business. And yeah, he was able to I was able to get in contact with the seller and come to find out the property he barely bought it December 7th. And right now we're December 29th. So the deed hasn't, even though the deed has switched over, but he doesn't have it on paper yet. And so I called them and I figured that out and like, okay, cool. Now we know now you're not lying. Now we know the property is actually yours. So now I can tell the title company what's going on and we can move forward with this transaction. And so I guess that's probably a minor one. But
Hmm.
other than the probate, Cedric, and this one, verifying, asking these good questions, and kind of like learning how to be at the final part before giving a price. Like Cedric, before we move on, is there anybody involved in the decision maker? I know you're the
Yeah,
man, but just like me, I answer to my wife. Yeah, do you need to ask anybody else in your family, like a sister or a real estate agent or somebody else? Is clarifying that hey, let's move on, and learning to ask these questions and using that system that you have in place.
nice. Okay, okay. Um, so I know you got your partner. Do you guys have any other people that's currently on your team?
I do what I'm practicing now, Cedric. Since, like I said, I'm kind of positioning myself as the acquisitions. What I'm doing with these people that I'm meeting from day to day, I let them know where I'm working at, and so every day, what I do from Monday to Friday, I offer um I offer a open office like a Zoom from 1 to 4, and so these guys that come in and girls, we kind of do like role playing for about an hour to where it's like positioning yourself in the position of that buyer or that seller that you're having trouble with, and let's practice together and we can learn from each other and gain that confidence through role playing. And after that, I just offer my services to where, hey guys, you have any deals that you might think, tell me what you think, and I'll hop on the phone call with them and try to close them. If not close them, get them closer to where they need to get to. And then obviously, and that basically I kind of use them instead of paying for like a VA. It's offering my services or my knowledge and then potentially prospecting, because there's a difference between a prospect and a lead.
Okay. So you no longer have that VA that you started out with,
Oh
or
no, no,
VAs
never.
at all. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I want to get to that point though again, Cedric, and obviously learning from my mistakes.
Hmm.
Obviously, you do want to help as many people, but eventually they'll learn themselves how to do it to where, you know what, George, I appreciate your help, but I'm gonna start doing my own thing. I'm gonna hire my own VA. And they're like, oh man, you're gonna leave me? I thought we had something. So it's learning how to, and that's where I'm at next, Cedric, learning to put those systems in place to when I do have the capital to afford that VA. Now I can nurture that VA to become my full time lead manager or cold caller, and
Right.
hopefully they get promoted to where they can take my spot, and now they can train the next VA coming in. And obviously that's in a perfect world, but it can happen through creating that culture and creating that system that we so dear need in our life.
Okay. 100%. Okay. All right. So, well, I normally have questions about my next question would have been, do you still keep in contact with some of your comrades? But evidently you do, because
Well, yeah,
you're the person that called you from Dallas. You knew while you were in the service. So
right. I do feel
yeah,
I do feel bad because I'm like, hey, come on, post people, all my postal peeps. I know y'all run into properties all the time, man. Bring them here. Let's do business together. But it takes two to tango as well. So it may
yeah,
take me to actually reach out and see how they're doing and say, hey, I'm out here still. I'm still buying properties. Let's do business together. And
yeah,
so yeah, it like I say, it's taking ownership because it's a phrase that you say you are where you are because you want to be, and if you don't want to be there, it's because and if you don't want to be there, you know what it takes to get there.
absolutely, absolutely. So let me ask you, how do you like giving back to the military community?
Actually, I don't really do that in a sense. I do that in a way where there is a nonprofit that I'm part of here in
Mhm.
Houston where we give back to the local and it's primarily Hispanic community. But what I
Okay.
love about it, Cedric, the one of the main leaders in there is actually prior military in the Navy as well. And so, he takes his time and he gives back to the community by doing quarterly events like giving out food to the police officers, like doing food drives, doing school drives when the back to school comes, the time frame, and then during the holidays giving away turkeys, and then for Christmas giving away gifts to the local community. But yeah, and it's funny. I just met somebody from New York that was prior military as well, Cedric. So he's like, hey George, I need some help, man. How do I do this? And so now I told him, hey man, put the pressure on me, bro. I'm here in Houston. I'm here in Dallas. Find those leads for me and let's do them together. And so I guess I don't really do nothing directly within the for the military, but maybe something I need to instill as I get better at what I'm doing, Cedric.
Okay. Okay. No, no issues. So George, before you became this very successful person that I see in front of me, uh, give our listeners a little bit of your backstory, like where you grew up, how was your upbringing, what in your past shifted your mindset into becoming the person you are today.
Okay. Actually born in Morristown, New Jersey, so not too far away from you, Cedric.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Being growing up, basically I had a lot of I would say a lot of fathers in my life. I guess my mom didn't know what she wanted and she was a very strong woman, but she always took care of me. And
Mhm.
so, but I think she may have nurtured me too much to where I have this optimistic look at life, like, oh, the world is so beautiful. Like, nah, mofo, there's a lot of darkness out here too. But my upbringing, just treating me well and knowing that had really good people around me, and for some reason learning that I had that attractiveness to where
Uh-huh.
people guided towards me and wanted to help me, but I was also learning how to be able to accept that help, but not really having that limited mindset. And where I came to Houston in '94, going through high school and kind of having that limited mindset still, and not having that church in my life like I do now.
Yeah.
And so, if anything, if it was a transition, it's learning that I am a worth. I am worthy of all the things that are coming my way, and I have to be bold enough to go get it to where I didn't have it. But also learning the power of forgiveness. It's like being able to forgive my parents, not for what
Mhm.
they did, but because they did the best they could with what they had. So now I'm at the age where I need to get what I need to go get, but still love them, whether it's at a distance or learning that, hey guys, I'm doing this business. I may not have the time I had before to spend with you guys, but I'm making it work, and this is my journey now.
Beautiful, beautiful. What is one belief, as we get close to wrapping up this interview, what is one belief you had as a beginning investor that has turned out to be false, but may be holding people back from taking the leap into investing?
The fact that it's easy and it's not, but like we spoke before, it's easy, but it's not easy. It's easy because you're doing it so much that what you call it, that it becomes easy. Like cold calling, I can do it, but I don't need to do it now. I'd rather have somebody else do it, but since I've done it so much, I'm able to help that person. And every once in a while, hey man, I'll jump in there. Let's cold call, man. I'll cold call for an hour. No shame off my game. I'll get cursed out a couple times, and I guess to know that yeah, it does take a little bit of money, but also it takes humility to ask for help as well,
Mm,
and not being so stubborn. No, I'm gonna do this by myself. No, and I guess if that answers your question, to
It
that it
it
does it
does.
does take a little bit of money, it takes a little bit of effort, and you getting out of your comfort zone.
Okay, got it. What strategies would you recommend to a beginner that has led to some of your success?
Just going out there, your local real estate investment groups, or seeing that I got the hat, you don't have to join sub 2. Link up with somebody like myself within your area. Sub 2 is pretty much nationwide now, to where we do have monthly meetups, and it's not like, oh, if you don't wear the hat you can't come in. No, come in, because you may bring an opportunity that I may need. You may have the capital for me to finalize this deal, or you may have a deal that you have trouble with closing on a cash offer, but maybe a creative option may work. Let's work together and make that happen. And knowing that your network is your net worth, yeah, the more people you know, the more opportunities you get to grow. There's something I like to say.
Nice, nice. One last question here. Do you recommend mentors? If so, why or why not?
Uh, yes, I do, because I have a little phrase that I learned, and you probably heard this too before, Cedric. You always want to have somebody that knows more than you, knows less than you, and knows as much as you. So you're always learning, you're always keeping up, and you're always teaching. And so it's endless. It's learning how to being comfortable being uncomfortable. You're always learning. You don't want to be the smartest person in the room. So it's having that mentor. It could be somebody simple, but it's also knowing that if you're the smartest room, you need to get out of that room and keep going, to where always challenging yourself to get the next step, not settling, because that's how we stop growing, when we just chill. Oh, we're good now. No, man, let's get the next challenge. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Well, George, it has been a blast having you as our guest today. As we close out, please tell our listeners where we can learn more about you, get in touch with you, and learn about all the fabulous things you have going on right now.
Oh, thank you, Cedric. My Facebook, I believe it's just my name, George Paredes. Instagram is Mr. Buy Your Home with a 3 instead of an E at the end. And I do have a YouTube page, and I'm taking a lot of mental notes based off of your questions that you're asking me. And just to be able to share that, and that one is at the George Paredes. Simple as that, which mainly covers, mindset, real estate, and faith. And just there to help out. And like I said, reach out to me if you need some help. I'm here in the Houston area, whether you're in Canada or you're in California.
Thanks for listening to the Service to Syndication podcast. We want you to know that we love and appreciate your support, and we are grateful about being a part of your journey to becoming a successful real estate entrepreneur. Please share this episode with a friend who you think will get a lot out of what you just heard. Send it to someone who you know is interested in real estate and dreams of having it all and being the best they can be in all areas of life. And if this was really valuable, share it on your social media stories and timelines. Thank you for watching and listening. Now go be great.